you there?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Name and address, please.
Good evening. My name is Jeffrey King. I live at 24 Elizabeth Parkway in Eatontown. Not in York. I'm in Monmouth County, but I am a frequent visitor of Westfield for a lot of reasons. I'm always at the Trader Joe, and I'm getting the $3 chuck and all the other spirits there. And that's odd because Trader Joe's is in Shrewsbury, the town right next to Eatontown, but they don't have a liquor license. So I've been to Westfield many times, and I've had dinner in downtown as well. I've hung out, and we get coffee. It's all good. Great town. They said Red Bank and Westfield are like the twin towns. I thought so. They're having medical cannabis there, at least, if not something more spirited. I'm not sure what their plans are there. Eatontown is hosting a medical dispensary on Highway 35, and it's working out okay. I think just in the observations I've seen, it's an advantage to the town because it's helping sick people through COVID. That was really impressive. It was an essential service. So if you can provide that to people, that's great. That's even better than the $3 chuck. But you're going to get foot traffic. I was in the Berkshires in Massachusetts, and it's very picturesque. Norman Rockwell Museum, Susan B. Anthony's birthplace. It's gorgeous. Tanglewood is the Boston Pop summer home. So it's wonderful for tourism. I had a hotel room and had meals, and we were antiquing and visiting the dispensaries. So maybe that's in the cards for Westfield, maybe not. It's hard to say. But I appreciate you guys having this open dialogue. It's really a great way to come to a consensus with stakeholders that are really passionate about it. I urge you to consider the veterans, though. Please facilitate opportunity for them, whether it's employment and security or as patients. The American Legion is overwhelmingly in favor of medical cannabis, as is the American Association of Retired Persons, AARP. So just keep these constituencies in mind. The medical opportunities, I remember in Colorado years ago before the, it was always about chiropractic and acupuncture and massage and therapeutic pain relief first. That was where it started on Colfax Avenue before they were doing things for tourism and recreation.
Just 30 seconds left. Thank you.
So, think Martha Stewart. She's successfully providing medication and some kind of sophisticated taste as well. So I wish you the best of success with this blossoming opportunity. Thank you for the time.
Great. Thank you very much. Okay, we have Sarah Wu. Sarah, are you there?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Name and address, please.
Oh, sure. My name is Sarah Wu. I live on 16 Witchery Drive, Westfield. I live in the town since 2004, so it has been 17 years on the journey. And I really love the town, and I know all my neighbors. Like, we raise children in this Westfield town because it's a safe, nice. People are friendly, and you immerse with the friendship and neighborhood, and everyone's bonded. So I actually really worried if we are going to open a marijuana store. In Westfield, I know that it has some medical benefits for some patients, but I feel like that can be treated through hospital or some other clinics. But I just don't feel safe as a mom of two kids, which I see all over the neighborhoods all the times. Like, I just feel like it's probably not the best idea. I know downtown has lots of empty stores, but I just don't feel it's a good idea to have a store that sells that, because I see when Boston, when they first opened a store like that, there's tons of traffic and different people from all over the place and congestions. I just worry about the safety of our children. So if it's me, I will vote for no.
Okay. Thank you very much, Sarah.
Thanks.
Mr. Blancano again. Are you there?
Yeah, two concerns that I do have. So a lot of discussion about traffic safety. The person that was talking about the parking decks, I was for the parking decks years ago. They didn't pass. I was for ShopRite. It didn't pass. And I just hope those things aren't taken into consideration, because if we make the same mistakes we made then, our downtown will suffer. I think you got a very difficult decision on your hand. Don't take traffic into the equation, because right on the border of Garwood, ShopRite was put in. Garwood now has a parking deck. Summit built parking decks since then. All these towns have progressed. Our towns went backwards. So please, if in your weighing of this difficult decision, do not take into consideration the mistakes that we made in the past. Learn from those, that we could have built a parking deck years ago, that we could have had ShopRite here with taxes, that all those things. Please learn from those mistakes and don't take that into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Shah Lu again. Are you there?
Yeah. So I'm just coming back with some confirmation about the comment that I made, that the first kids offense to smoking pots will not be notified. The police will not notify the person's parents or guardian. So I found an article in NBCNewYork.com. I saw that's probably credited. So the article is on March 27th, after the law has been passed, and I'm just reading a short paragraph from this article. Under the law Murphy signed in February, a first offense would have resulted in a written warning. And the article doesn't mention that the written warning was given to who, but the article subsequently said that the law made it clear that the person's parent or guardian was not to be notified. So that was made very, very clear to me. So I think that I'm going to send the link and also this paragraph to you, just for the consideration.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
Another speaker, Marina. Marina, are you there? Marina? Marina?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Name and address, please.
Marina Rebman, 3 Burrell Square, Parlin, New Jersey. I want to discuss just medical cannabis. Please keep a very open mind about this beautiful medication. I take it for PTSD, and the doctors told me I had cancer, or I have cancer, in their opinion. Between the ages of 1 and 4.5, I had to have major surgeries on my left leg. Back then, your parents weren't allowed to stay over. And just imagine being a little kid in this big, scary New York City hospital. And, that was just the rules back then. And then now these days, you can walk your kid into the operating room. They weren't allowed to do that back then. It was scary. It was cold. All these people were dressed. They kept on saying, you'll be okay. I had to have my leg amputated at 4.5. Then, unfortunately, in 2017, the doctors diagnosed me with cancer. I lost 50 pounds within 3 weeks because I could not get my medication. No matter what pharmaceutical drug they stuck me on, it didn't work. I was miserable. I was curled up in a ball, vomiting. Just imagine losing 50 pounds within 3 weeks. No medications worked. You have 63 psychiatrists in the state of New Jersey that prescribe medical cannabis, 10 pediatric doctors that prescribe medical cannabis. There was actually a little girl who had a 25-hour seizure because she could not get her medical cannabis, and this would have helped her. Just imagine seeing your child or hearing it, or just, I don't even want anyone to imagine that, but there was a child who had a 25-hour seizure. All of this, my PTSD is acting up. I apologize. But, and then people will say, get an Uber, get a Lyft. That costs money. And if you're on disability, you can't afford it, especially if you're going through cancer treatment, multiple sclerosis. If you're in a wheelchair, then you have to take access link. People call it access link because it doesn't go everywhere. It's just, I can't say enough how much this has done for me. And if you want to ask me any questions on my journey, please do. You know, like I said, I have doctors who tell me.
Sorry to interrupt. There's just 30 seconds left.
Okay, like I said, what doctor would ever say, please smoke before you see me? I want you to get stoned. I have to have an exam by my gynecologist, my gynecologist. And she always tells me, I want you to smoke. I want you to be nice and stoned. Have you ever heard of a doctor telling you that? There's never been a medical death with cannabis, with smoking it. Okay, maybe when the cops come, they'll say, you know, what's going on? They'll give you a bag of chips, go inside. You know.
Thank you, Marina.
Thank you for hearing me.
Thank you. Next person, we have a Jamie Van Cipher. I believe that's how we pronounce it. Are you there?
Yes, good evening. Jamie Van Sciver, Greenwich Avenue in Paulsboro, New Jersey. I'm with Sativa Cross, a nonprofit advocating for medical cannabis patients and also individuals with disabilities for accessibility. I'm grateful that you guys are having this open discussion and that you have the committee together and hopefully trying to get as much information available to make a good educated decision for your community. I see other places really rushing and being very hasty about making a ban and ordinances completely knocking it. I am a medical patient. I hope that you would allow people to have access to this in your community. I think when I talk about chronic illness and chronic pain, that people don't really understand what that is. They're used to their perception of illness and pain. Maybe you need to rest something a few weeks and ice something and put it up and take it easy. But when you have chronic illness and chronic pain, these conditions are not going to go away. Like, we can only, unfortunately, expect them to probably get worse. I deal with some immune illness, systemic lupus, and I have fibromyalgia and moderate scoliosis, neuropathy. I could be on a horrible path of pharmaceuticals, and I haven't taken any in 6 years. My condition's not going away. If I were on a path of pharmaceuticals, I don't think it's hard to understand that people's bodies build tolerances to those substances, and in turn their body wants more and they take more, and we're really just ravaging bodies that are already not well, not functioning into their best abilities. This is a beautiful medicine. It's really making strides with so many different things: cancer, epilepsy, different seizure disorders. I'm here because I'm so passionate about it. My lab work does not lie. My immune system is not attacking my body. I am healing myself. I'm not taking pharmaceuticals. Like, even for depression, anxiety, I was taking pharmaceuticals for those things as well. Veterans are killing themselves at a rate of 22 per day. I don't know if you know anything about depression. They'll give you some anti-anxieties or antidepressants, usually SSRIs. Unfortunately, those substances increase desire for suicidal tendencies. We need to give people another option.
Ivor, sorry to interrupt you. 30 seconds left. We have other residents that want to speak.
So please, at least have some empathy for medical patients. And if you do absolutely need to make an ordinance banning against your constituents what they voted for at 69.78%, at least please consider your language and say we are banning any recreational business. Please stop stigmatizing my life-saving medication. Please, I don't want a path of pharmaceuticals destroying my life. Please let your community have access to that. Please don't judge them.
Thank you, Ms. Van Zyver. Okay, we have some repeat speakers here again. Mrs. Murphy.
Yes, thank you for letting me come on a third time. I'm happy that people are interested in what we have going on here in Westfield, but I was under the impression that it was a discussion among residents whether we wanted to open dispensaries in our town. I'm well aware of how beneficial medicinal cannabis. Marijuana can be for people, and I know that it helps multiple people. People I know of who it helps, but I don't want to turn this into a pharmaceutical versus cannabis discussion. I think that we need to sort of keep it within our town,
outsiders,
and let it be something that we discuss. Again, I'm happy that they're coming on and expressing their joy that we're having this discussion
you for the
seriously.
third time,
but
too. You
again,
got to
it's
speak
not
3 times.
Pharmaceutical versus cannabis.
It's not.
We know that it helps people. When you have a proper prescription for cannabis, you can get it.
It's not a prescription. You're ignorant.
Quite easily. It doesn't have to be in Westfield. And again, I was under the impression it was Westfield residents that this discussion was among.
Thank you, Ms. Murphy.
Just really quick, I wanted to say that, Ms. Murphy, we are, what we're primarily considering is Westfield comments. I agree with you. But I think the idea to, at least on a limited basis, open it up to opinions from people from outside of the state. It's just other information
outside of the state
that we'll take into account. But I can tell you that the weight of our decision is going to be based on resident comments.
Great. Bill West again. Bill?
Yeah, thanks, Jim. I appreciate that coming on a second time. I agree with the last speaker that, this isn't about the support I have for medical marijuana. I know the benefits of CBD. I know, it's helped a lot of people, and that wasn't my opposition to opting out. My opposition to opting out is the recreational use of marijuana with the THC content. And I also agree with, several of the prior callers when they talk about, looking at the data, reviewing the data. I didn't get to a lot of the data. I will send it in an email to all you folks from the Centers of Disease Control, from, the U.S. Office of National Drug Control Policy. I do have some comments for the police chief and the detective that were on the line. Traffic fatalities in Colorado have increased 31% since the legalization, and it directly coincides with marijuana use. The rise in statewide traffic fatalities involving drivers who tested positive for marijuana in Colorado rose from 55 deaths in 2013 to 115 deaths in 2018. Data from the Colorado Department of Transportation. And it's like I said before, with the COVID thing, it was all about the data, right? Efficacy of the vaccines and, deaths, hospital beds. Look at the data, understand the data, and you'll see the dangers of recreational marijuana at the other states. And if I just got 30 seconds left, I'll address the Board of Education member that's on the call. The data from states where recreational pot is now legal, 16.4% of all students 12 to 17 years old use marijuana at a 40% higher rate than those in non-legal states. And those states were California, Colorado, Massachusetts, Nevada, and this is from the U.S. Substance Abuse and Mental Health Administration, 2017 and 2018 data. Again, not a private funded survey, if you will. These are government institutions. And the other data that's not good is 22% of high schoolers in Alaska, another legalized state, use marijuana. And that's from the Alaska Department of Health and Social Services 2020 report. So examine the data, folks. I mean, that's what we're on now with COVID. Do the same thing for marijuana use. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, we have, I think is her name Jessica Marr again? Or Jackie Marr?
Sorry, that's me. I should lower my hand, but I wanted to express the same thing that Carrie and Bill did regarding it being, this is about recreational use, right? And then that I was under the impression that this was like a Westfield taxpayers, people who lived in town thing, so I wasn't sure. I wanted to confirm that was the feedback that was given was being considered, from the people who live in town.
Yes, Councilman Parmalee, I think just addressed that. Thank you very much. Mona Zhao again.
Yes, thank you very much. I wanted to actually continue with the previous speaker's point on data. You know, I don't see why there's any rush for us to opt in, because if we opt out right now, we can opt in anytime after that. But if we opt in, we're stuck for 5 years. So I would say wait for the data and see what it tells us. Then we can make a decision. I don't see that we need to rush into this decision. And also to talk about, some other speakers mentioned that, it's going to be here anyway. Again, to point to my point, yeah, it will be here. We cannot, restrict deliveries into our town, but these are going to be delivered to the families behind doors. It's not going to be a storefront saying in big letters that, hey, Westfield, we agree drug use is fine in our town. So it's absolutely necessary for us to be clear on the message to our kids. So I don't agree that it's going to be here anyways. We're going to lose out. We're not going to lose out. If that's such a good thing, we can always opt in later. So there's no rush. And also, to compare ShopRite to a drugstore, these are oranges and apples. I don't need to go into details. I think everybody would understand. And also to echo on the other speakers' opinion on out of town speakers, I appreciate their input, but I agree with Councilman Parmalee that this is primary for the residents. Thank you again.
Okay, thank you. All right, we're Jessica Dalgish. If I said it, Dalglish, are you there?
Yes, sorry, it's actually Rob Dalglish.
Okay, sorry.
I plugged in. Sorry, I wasn't here for the whole call, but I just want to take the opportunity to add my voice.
Sorry, give the address, please.
Oh, sorry, 825 Prospect Street.
Right, thank you.
I just wanted to, state my opposition to it as well. I don't think this is the kind of business that we should have in Westfield. I'm against it, and I just wanted to add my voice to it.
Great, thank you very much. Sarah Wu again. Sarah, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry, I was disconnected a little while. I just want to make it clear because, as my understanding, medical use of marijuana and recreational use are different. So I heard the story from the ladies who suffer from the pain. But I think that's for medical use. So I just want to make that clear. And also, I want to share a personal experience. Years ago, I had a car accident. Someone just tailgated me, and then she's clearly under the influence of marijuana. So I don't think it's safe to have in a town that will have tons of children and schools around the downtown area. That's what I want to say. Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Wu. And we have Mrs. Murphy for the fourth time.
For the fourth time.
Yes, and I appreciate you letting me speak for a fourth time.
I've had my hand up.
Councilman Parmalee, thank you for pointing that out, or telling us that our opinions will be mostly weighted when making this decision. But it still does concern me that we're opening it up to non-residents because it feels like it's setting a bad precedent for future meetings. Will this be what happens when we have council meetings in the future that will allow others to call in and give an opinion? I feel like if we go down that path now, it's just, it's like setting a bad precedent.
Oh my God, what an ignorant person.
Okay, thank you.
And I'm not sure how they receive the information.
Thank you, Ms. Murphy. We have our Mr. or Mrs. Grimes. Are you there?
Yes, good evening.
His name and address, please.
My name is Edward Lefty Grimes, 84 Hanover Road. I am with East Hanover. I'm with sativacross.org. We are a 501c3 advocating for disabled and cannabis patients' rights. My friend Pete just sold his house in Westfield. He can't be here tonight because he has cancer. So I'm going to speak for my friend Pete. He uses cannabis. He has testicular cancer. And he's suffering because it's spreading. Lived in Westfield for many, many years. I've been to Westfield, to his house. talk about the traffic fatalities, all the stats that I've seen have been debunked because what's happening is they give you the stats, but they don't give you all the stats. And you need to do the research. The stats on cannabis fatalities, they do not consider alcohol in those stats. All of those, almost all, 90-something%, I believe it's 95% of those fatalities were drunk on alcohol also. Yeah, they had cannabis in their system, but they were drunk. So consider that, please, and do your research on that. I was on OxyContin for 10 years. Oxycodone, Roxycodone, Valium. All of these pills that the pharmaceutical companies push on me. All this Western medicine. Then I started Eastern medicine. I started using cannabis. I started taking oils. I started going for acupuncture, cupping. My acupuncturist is from Korea. She makes sure, did you get stoned? Did you medicate before? I say yes. She makes sure that I'm medicated before I see her. My massage therapist does deep tissue on me. He makes sure that I'm medicated before I see him, so I'm relaxed. I get a TENS unit when I go to therapy. I get cryo, freezing my back. I get laser. I have an artificial disc and a fusion. I have a 2-level cervical fusion. This 2-level cervical fusion, I wish you could see it. But for this one here, this is only a couple of years ago. I had been off Oxycontin and Roxycodone for years. I did not want to go back on those pills. And I was nervous that because of this 2-level cervical fusion that I was facing.
Mr. Grimes, sorry to interrupt, 30 seconds left.
So me and my pastor prayed, and sure enough, I did not use any pharmaceuticals after my 2-level cervical fusion. I used cannabis oils, cannabis suppositories, cannabis edibles, and it works as medicine for me. And it's been very helpful. Thank you.
Okay, we have Mrs. Murphy for the 5th time. Are we going to continue the repeat speakers?
So how come I can only get 3 minutes? That's weird. And
anybody? Are we going to continue to do that?
Really? We're going to continue that?
I can do it. It's fine with me. I just want to, Mrs. Murphy.
Can I speak again?
I would just hope if.
I just feel like this is turning into a pharmaceutical versus cannabis in Westfield discussion, and we're going so far off track from where we were when this call first started.
Why is this off track?
I'm not sure what the value is at this point to allow, I feel for these people, and like I said, I know people who are, receiving great benefit from cannabis, but it's turning into a different type of discussion.
But it's turning into a discussion I don't like. This is uncomfortable for me. I don't like where this is going.
I mean, I can say, to just reiterate that we're considering resident opinions, and the only other thing we're considering is how it impacts Westfield. So the distinction between medical marijuana is not something that's in front of the commission's, or it's not up to the commission's recommendation. The only thing that the council or that the commission is considering right now is whether to opt in or opt out, pursuant to the time frame that state law presents to us.
What's so funny, Tom?
Thank you for clarifying that.
What's so funny, Tom?
Thank you, Ms. Murphy.
Tom, what's so funny?
And Mona Shao.
Again?
3rd time.
Again?
Oh, I'm sorry. I had the same question.
I want to speak again.
So that was good. Thank you.
Can you speak again? Can I speak again?
Anyone else like to be heard?
I'd like to be heard again.
Already?
Yes.
I'd like to speak again.
This has been a good an hour and a half discussion and hearing this information, which has been great. Again, anyone else want to be heard that has not been heard already?
All right. I just welcome everybody else to tell your friends or yourselves to send comments to cannabiscomments@westfieldnj.gov. It's on the website. There's some great resources on our website, also in the New Jersey League of Municipalities website, if you just search cannabis. It has a lot of the different state resources that are on there and other information that relates to the state law as it stands today. So with that, it looks like we have no new comments. I look forward to continuing to read all of the emails. I can tell you that I've read every one of them so far, and I appreciate every resident's input in this decision that we're going to.
Is Tom even in this meeting?
Come
What is
to,
Tom doing?
Recommendation
What is he looking at?
Next, in shortly. So, unless there's any comments from anyone else.
Yeah, what is Tom doing?
I'll take a motion.
What's he reading? Show us what you're reading, Tom.
So moved. Any second?
Second.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Tom, wake up. The meeting's over.
Good night.
Good night.
All right. Well, we're gonna jump back to
remain. There's a
right.
75 foot.
There's nothing going on over here in the other town, so we're just gonna go log off, and we'll be back on when. Where the heck are we? Chatham. Be back in Chatham in probably a half hour or so. They're doing a presentation right now. It's probably super boring. Look at this. Look at this boring thing they're showing us. Oh boy, hold on.
The rear property line. But we have a solid 75-foot buffer, which will remain as wooded, and then grass or other plantings will be put there.
How's that?
And then
that's not bad, right?
Have the basketball court, parking, and then as you move towards Southern Boulevard.
All right. Well, no, we're not going to deal with this. Sorry. This is boring.
There's a community
We're gonna.
Center. You can see it sort of in the middle.
We're signing off.
Buildings 2 and 3, and then as you.
We're signing off, and then we're going to come back.
Courtyard. There's a top.
We'll come back in a few. So do a nice hit
like
off your rig. Get yourself
right
nice and
we
medicated. We're going to go back to Chatham tonight. I don't know how Chatham's going to be.
And we thought the next best thing was to build
Westfield does not look good.
That we've shown here.
I sense a lot of ignorance
and then you
in the force.
Run up, to building number 1.
A lot of ignorance in the force.
And again, it's a 2-story building, and that's got 16 units.
All right, so boys and girls, we'll see you in a little while at Chatham Township.
To get to the total number of units.
All right.
Again, we're not going to talk about the site plan